Okay, well, Mari, well, first of all, thanks for the interview and congratulations for the release of your last album, Right Drama. So, I want to start asking, are you satisfied with the reception of the album so far? Any feedback that caught your attention?
Oh, absolutely. By far, this has been the best reaction of any of my albums, maybe ever. It's been the best reaction, certainly over the last several years, and it just comes from a lot of different places. You know, I have a lot of very dear fans who follow everything I do, and I appreciate them so much. But this time, I've gotten a lot of attention from people who didn't really know who I was before, people who never really heard my music before, and they're just discovering me now because of the drama record. So it's kind of really, really fresh and exciting for me right now. Yeah.
And Mari, talking about drama yet, which track on your new album is your favorite?
I couldn't pick a favorite at all. It's impossible. I'm sorry. um,
It-
sorry.
it's like
Yeah.
a child.
Yeah. If I had a favorite, then that would mean that there's something wrong with the other songs. um,
Well,
what usually happens is when I'm writing any album, not just this album, I write many songs. So maybe 30, 40, 50 songs sometimes. And so I'm throwing away a lot of stuff. There's a lot of junk. Um, so by the time I decide to keep something on the record, that means I'm very satisfied with it, and they're all kind of basically the same level as far as how much I care about them. But like the songs that I've thrown away are just not as good, I don't think.
Yes, and well, one aspect of the new record is the presence of keyboards, right? I mean, you. But what can you say about this? Well, these arrangements choices, because well, you are a guitar player, but you like the piano also.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of actual piano, not so much keyboards like as in electric keyboards and that
Yeah.
kind of thing, synthesizers. There's a lot of actual piano, and there's real violins and real cellos and real percussion instruments. It's a very orchestral record. A lot of the stuff I plan to play sometime with an actual orchestra. So when I was writing it, I wanted to have a lot of like grand piano and instruments like that, because it just gives me a really unique backdrop for my guitar and the type of melodies that I'm writing.
Hmm. Yes. Well, moving a little, talking a little bit about other aspects of your career. Moving back, you started your solo career in well in the 80s. So did you ever imagine that you could continue as a solo artist more than 30 years later?
I didn't even think I was going to continue for more than two or three albums, really. I didn't intend to do it. I just started making solo records just because I had time between touring and stuff. And I just did it because I love to make music. And, little by little, it started to become more, touring, and more opportunities happened from it. So I would have never thought I'd be continuing this long, but I feel like I'm learning so much every single time I do anything. I learn something, and so I'm enjoying it more now than ever.
Yes. Well, Mari, you were back in the days part of the Cacophony bands alongside with the well Jason Becker. So I'm wondering, is there any song from this project that somehow remained unreleased and you can somehow release someday? What memories do you have from this project?
There was nothing really unreleased, but interestingly, the song "Triumph," which is on the Drama album, The first time I ever recorded that song was with Cacophony for the first album. For the first Cacophony album, I recorded a version of Triumph, and my amp blew up while I was playing guitar. It was on fire. There was literally smoke coming out of the amp, and we never finished the song. And to be completely honest with you, I don't think it was coming out very good anyway. So we probably would have thrown it away anyway. But I just remember, the amp was burning and I was playing, and we never finished it. So that song has had a long journey from then till now. But that's the closest thing to any unreleased Cacophony songs that exists.
And Marty, in the 80s, I guess, is it true that you were going to audition to be part of Madonna's band? Could you talk about this history, please?
Oh yeah, I was very homeless actually. I was homeless and I was living with two girls that I didn't even know who they were really. They just let me live with them. And I had no money and no food. And I really was trying to find work. And I heard about an audition for Madonna. And it was an open call, which means they set up a day and you book kind of a time to show up at the audition. And maybe 20, 30 other guys go at the same time. And I had learned a bunch of Madonna songs and had planned to do the audition. But the very same week, I got an audition for the band Megadeth. The Megadeth audition was like on a Tuesday. Madonna was like on a Friday. And so I did Megadeth first, and things worked out very well right then. So I didn't have to go to the actual Madonna audition. And it was just lucky because I think I enjoyed Megadeth much more than Madonna, to be honest with you.
And come on.
No, I was asking if you remember any which song from Madonna that you liked the most to rehearse.
Actually, I know a lot of Madonna's songs from back then. She had so many hit songs, so I didn't even work on those. I knew those in my mind, so I didn't know what songs they were going to play. So what I learned was some very obscure, rare songs. I learned a bunch of rare Madonna songs because if she asked me to play a rare song, then I could do it. But I knew all the hits already, so I didn't need to really practice those or learn any of the hit songs. So I learned weird songs that she probably never plays live. And turns out I didn't even need to learn those, but it was good preparation anyway. I was getting prepared.
Okay, sorry,
Marty.
Mateus.
Oh, okay. Talking about audition yet, on the internet, there is a video of your audition for Megadeth in which you appear in a Ramones t-shirt playing Wake Up Dead. What do you think of Johnny Ramone as a guitarist?
Oh, he was my first favorite guitar player. And the Ramones were my first favorite band. The Ramones and Kiss, I guess, and Black Sabbath. But the Ramones were the first band that I tried to play on guitar. And I loved to play just like Johnny Ramone, all downstrokes, very aggressive, powerful, lots of stamina. That was my first big influence when I was a kid, maybe 14 years old. So I think he's a very, very unique style that has influenced many, many people in different kinds of music, not just punk rock, but hard rock and heavy metal and pop and all kinds of things.
Oh, right. And you performed with Megadeth in Japan last year. What was it like meeting Dave Mustaine again?
Oh, it was fantastic. we've been in touch for many years, and we've always had good, friendly relations. And it was just a natural thing to do. Dave called me up. He sent me an email, actually, and said, "Have you played Budokan before?" And I said, "Yeah." And then he writes me back and he says, "You want to play again with us?" And I said, "Yeah, man, let's do it." This is the one thing that we both wanted to do together back in the day, and it just never happened. And I was very, very grateful that Dave thought of me to do it together. You know, as Megadeth, the first time Megadeth played at Budokan, I was there playing with them. So I felt like it was a very nice gesture on his part. And I think the fans, you know, loved it as much as we did. We were like little kids having so much fun.
All right. And you played with Megadeth at Rock in Rio in 1991. What do you remember from that crazy show? Crazy and fast.
Yeah, I loved it. I remember it was so much fun to play in front of such an enthusiastic crowd. And I think that was my first time in Brazil. I remember two things. I remember the show. We tried to play as many songs as we could, so we played everything extra fast. I remember that, and I remember hanging out at the pool and just watching there was all these girls in bikinis, and hanging out at the pool left kind of a bigger impression than the actual show did, to be honest with you. But it was a great time. It was wonderful to start a relationship with Brazil on such a wonderful show. It was a first of many, many times meeting Brazilian people and eating Brazilian food and hearing Brazilian music. So it was a very wonderful first impression that I got from Brazil, was Rock in Rio.
Oh, nice. And to talking about Megadeth yet, you left the band months after the release of Risk. And what is your opinion about this album?
Well, I haven't heard it since back then, so you know, I don't think it was much of a risk, actually. And I just remember we did the best we could, and it was, you know, is exactly where we were as a band at that time. And that's all any album is, really. An album is like a yearbook in school, you know, or in high school or college or whatever. It's an album is like, it's a yearbook of that period of time. So you can't really go back and say, oh, this sucks, or we didn't mean to do that, or it was not a good idea, or whatever. You can't go back and say that, because it is what it is, and it was what it was, you know. So at the time, we believed in it, and we did the best we could, and that's all I can say about any album, really. It's the same answer for any album.
Thank you.
Yes, and Mari, you've been living in Japan for over 20 years, something like that. So, how's been the experience, and have you ever felt like returning to the US or maybe moving to other country?
Japan has been a very wonderful experience. You know, I came to Japan to play Japanese music within the Japanese music scene, and I got very lucky and was able to do that. And on top of that, I was able to do many other kinds of media, like television, of course, and a couple movies and a lot of commercials, and just a lot of things that I would have never been able to do if I didn't come to Japan. And so a lot of open doors have happened since I came to Japan, because of living in Japan, that I was able to make an album like Drama, or make any of the albums that I've made since I've been here. They would have never, ever happened if I wasn't in Japan. All of those things were made possible from the work I've done in Japan, the people I've met in Japan. And so I'm very thankful for the entire experience. And you know, I go to all the other countries too, you know, when I'm touring. You know, I toured South America a bunch of times, North America and Europe and Australia, India, everything. So I go everywhere, but I live here in Japan.
Yes, and well, Mari, well, you've been influenced by many guitar players, well, in the beginning of your career, maybe until now. So can you pick, well, let's say between 3 and 5 guitar solos that's, well, you like it the most, that really influenced the way you play today?
Guitar people or guitar solos?
Well, I was thinking about guitar solos, but maybe if you can say a little bit about the people, the person behind it.
It's kind of easier to list people because I can't really think of any particular guitar solos that really stand out that much. But I'll list the guys that when I started out really left a big influence. Like I said before, Johnny Ramone, and at the very beginning, Ace Frehley from Kiss. I learned all the Kiss guitar solos because I thought that they were really perfect for the Kiss songs. They were just right. They weren't too crazy. They weren't mindless. They all made sense, and they were done well at the time. And they left a good impression. And then I think the other big ones at the time was Uli John Roth. Back then he was in the Scorpions. And I learned to play interesting melodies from him. And Frank Marino from Mahogany Rush. I learned from him how to play exciting blues kind of guitars. And maybe the biggest influence might surprise you a little bit, was a guy named Neil Giraldo. And he plays for Pat Benatar's band. And when Pat Benatar came out, I couldn't believe the guitar solos in that pop music. And I just thought it was genius and so unique. I learned every one of his guitar solos, and they were just so well constructed and unique and flavorful, and they didn't sound like back then. Everybody sounded like Jimi Hendrix or Jimmy Page or Richie Blackmore, and I was not interested in those guys at all. I didn't care. But when I heard Neil Giraldo, I'm like, this guy doesn't sound like any of those guys. So I think he might be the biggest influence from my early days.
And Mari, and do you still listen to heavy metal?
Oh, certainly. Yeah. I love heavy metal. I love playing it. I love listening to it. I think heavy metal has become part of the vocabulary of Japanese pop music, which is why I love Japan, because in pop music, you have elements of heavy, hard music. In America, pop music doesn't even have guitar in it anymore. So there's no heavy influence in pop music. Of course, there's great heavy metal music in America and around the world, but it's just not in the pop scene. In Japan, you know, you might have a band like Maximum the Hormone, and that's extremely, extremely heavy, or Cross Faith, and they're just sitting right next to pop bands and dance music and idol music. It's all in one place. And so I think that's very very appealing to me, because I like heavy metal music and I really like it when it's doing something new and unique and fresh. Like pop music isn't supposed to have heavy metal in it, but it does in Japan. I just think that's so cool.
Yes. And well, Mario, since we are from Brazil, we need to ask you if you have any relation with Brazilian guitar players that maybe you liked or somehow you discovered, or maybe some Brazilian style that you like. What can I say?
Actually, just recently, like a couple months ago, I did an interview with someone from Brazil, and he suggested a Brazilian guitar style to me. And I wrote it down and I looked it up, and it was very, very cool. And I don't remember the name of it. Maybe you can, it was like Carvalho or
Mateus
what's like a
Assato?
no, not a person. Of course, I know Mateus is a great guitar
Okay.
player. A style of Brazilian guitar.
Okay, okay. Well, let's
I
say.
think it starts with C.
What,
What's
can
traditional
you
Brazilian?
maybe
Traditional Brazil?
bossa nova,
No,
guitarrada,
you're getting
samba.
closer. No, like something that starts with a C, like Carvalhos or something. I'm so sorry, I don't remember it. Let me see if I have it written down still.
I will check.
It was like traditional. It's kind of romantic. It's kind of like Piazzolla's music. Because I
Can
told him that I
remember.
really like Piazzolla's music very much, and he says, "Oh, if you like Piazzolla's music, you should listen to this Brazilian style of guitar, Brazilian style of music. Maybe not just guitar, but anyway, I listened to it, and of course, I know Mateus Assato, and we played together remote one time for a Japanese show, and he's fantastic. And of course, my friend Kiko Loureiro is a wonderful guitar player from Brazil. And but yeah, I was when the interview guy told me about this style of music, I listened to it. It sounded like kind of like tango music. And
Yeah,
I like
Lambada.
well, we have
maybe not.
maracatu, baião.
It was a longer word, like
Oh,
maybe CHO something, Chohardio or something. I don't know, man. I'm sorry.
Well, no
I don't
problem.
know. Yeah. Yeah, sorry about
Well,
that.
okay. Okay, and well, Mari, if you could, like, I know it's a difficult question, but if you had to assemble like a dream team of the musicians you've played with, who would you choose? I mean, like, some drummers, some vocalists, bass players.
This is really easy. I would just have to say the band that I have now, my solo
Okay.
band. It's so easy. It's absolutely perfect. It's like a four-cornered diamond. Absolutely perfect. And this was the first time in my whole solo career that I had them all play on one of my albums. On my new album, Drama, there's a song called Thrill City. That's my band. That's my drummer, the bass player, and guitarist, and me. And that's the first time I've ever done that in the history of my recording. They're just the top. They're just the top. And when we come down there to Brazil to play, you will see why they're my dream team for sure.
Well, we'll be expecting.
Yeah, expect it.
and Mari, you talked about Kiss, and is it true that you didn't do the audition for the Kiss because you're hate?
Yes, that's true. I was too short. You know, I fit the other ones. I fit the other questions good. He says, you have long hair? Yes. You don't have any facial hair? Correct. You're single? Yes. You're skinny? Yes. Not blonde? Yes. I fit all of those things. And then he says, how about your height? Are you 6 feet tall with no shoes? I'm like, oh, shit. Not even
But
close.
you should wear high heels, and that's okay.
No. They said 6 feet with no shoes on.
Wow.
I wear high heels anyway. They said 6 feet with no shoes on. So I had everything else. And I was so upset. But what can you do?
Yes. And Mari, is there any professional milestone you haven't achieved yet, and you wish to achieve, to accomplish?
Yes. There's one thing left. I mean, of course, when I achieve this, I'm not going to quit everything else. I love playing live more than anything else. But there's one milestone that I would like to achieve, and that's to have my music played in the Olympics. And the closest thing I have to that is I play the opening ceremony every year at the Tokyo Marathon. I do that every year here, but it's not the Olympics. So I want my music to be played in the Olympics and or played for figure skating, used for figure skating. I've had my music played for all sorts of other sports, American football, basketball, hockey, college basketball, all that is great. But I really want someone, a professional skater, to use my music in their figure skating program. So figure skating music and Olympics. So if there's anyone listening to this interview, please consider my music for that.
Well, it would be very nice. Mari,
Yeah, I would love it.
Mateus, do you have other questions?
Oh, it's a fun question, Marty. Do you know why Megadeth never played the song "Addicted to Chaos" live? I guess Megadeth never played the song. Do you know the reasons?
I can't even think of what that song sounds like right now. It must not have been a very popular song. I can't remember it.
It's a Youthanasia song, the third song. The song begins with a Nick Menza part. It's a it's a.
Are you sure Are you sure we never played it?
I guess Megadeth never play it in the set list site. I don't know if you know the site.
Well, I'll tell you. I can't speak for Megadeth, but I can speak for myself. And there's two reasons why songs don't get played. The two reasons. One reason is it just doesn't. It's not very popular live. It just doesn't get people excited. That's one reason. Or the other reason, it's just too hard to play. Those are the two main reasons. Maybe there's a lot of vocal harmonies. You know, if you're a vocal harmony band, if you got four guys who all sing great, then that's cool. But I'm not a good singer. You know, maybe there was a lot of vocal harmonies in there. But when I'm choosing for my concerts, you know, either the song is just not convenient to play live, or it's too long of a song, or it's not, you know, when you play live long enough, you can see which songs people relate to and people get excited about. So I can only speak for myself. It's either too hard to play live because of too many overdubs or something, or it's just not a fan favorite. So that's the answer. Sorry, it wasn't a very fun answer, but that's the truth.
And just to end, I just want to thank you for Youthanasia. That is my #1 album. I want to thank you. There is the album. Oh, I love this album. And thank you very much.
Thank you very much. I have very, very good memories of playing that album. I thought it was one of our best when I was in Megadeth. Oh, and I'll tell you something else about that album. That's by far my favorite Megadeth album cover. By far. It's actually the only album I really like. I loved it. It was a lot of
oh, sorry.
A lot of good.
No. Youthanasia, it's the album I've listened to the most in my life, certainly. Thank you.
Oh, wow. Well, thank you very much. Keep listening to it. I think everybody was on the top of their game, and great producer and great. The band was just on fire, and it's the favorite album cover, best photos, just everything just came together. So I'm glad you liked it.
Yes. Well, Marty, thank you very much for the interview, for your time. Good luck with, your upcoming concerts, the release of the record.
Right. Thank you.
Okay, so
hope to see you soon.
Bye-bye.
Thank you very much. Bye-bye.
Maneiro, hein?
Oh, cara, foi legal. Eu fiquei